Buenas noches, buenos días, y buenas tardes. Bienvenidos to another episode of Caldo de Risa.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm Danny Archilla.
I'm Bryan TV.
And today we are thrilled to come back to you with a new episode. What is Caldo de Risa? It's the #1 funniest podcast about Colombians.
That's a big order.
Well, you know what? We're talking about shows like Manifest, and that's what we're doing. We're manifesting, man. I'm feeling positive.
As always, thank you to Binge on this channel for manifesting this show. And, of course, to Zach Vederman in the background right now, running the cameras and the audio.
The A's and the B's.
But let's get into this, Danny. Who do we have today in the studio?
Today, let me tell you something. He's technically our third guest, if we're counting my parents.
Okay.
Shout out to Robot and Albatron.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that. But my parents were on the show before, and we were like, we got to get some more Colombians on the show. And who should I run into whilst I'm hosting the Friday mic at Club B in North Hollywood?
Rest in peace.
It's coming back. It's coming back.
Right.
Ease up. He's another comic. He's also from Colombia, and he just seems like a really cool, chill, all-around dude. It's Lukas Mateus, everybody. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? I am chill, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm feeling chill.
Man, oh, man. Welcome.
Can you hear me? All right. My voice is...
Hey, man.
You're coming in nice and clear.
You're coming in authentic as hell.
I don't have headphones, and I know you're coming in clear.
Yeah, dude. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah.
This is round 2 for us meeting.
Yes.
That's right.
Could we touch on that real quick? Can we touch on that?
So... I am a novice when it comes to planning our schedule. Bryan's very patient. He's been in the game for a long time. Me, not so much. So you could imagine my surprise when I'm excited to do a good thing for once. And I actually had my whole apartment cleaned out enough to fit us recording this exact podcast episode. It was going to be ready. It was going to be lit. It was essentially going to be podcast ready. That's what I told Bryan. Now, here's the problem.
Those were the words you used, podcast ready.
I used podcast ready. I used
Those
that phrase.
Those are the exact words he used.
That's one of the jury.
So once we got down the date, and once I got in touch with Lukas after the Club B mic, we had planned for that day to record in my apartment because I said it was podcast ready. For those of you who are just like me and didn't know this before, when you say podcast ready in the biz, you're really saying it's mic'd up, it's camera'd up, all the cables are gaffed down, and there's a bottle of water for everybody. This place is ready to plug in and play. Let's go. I didn't know it meant that. I just thought it meant like an
You just thought it was like an idea.
It was an
like
idea.
It's like the idea
it
that
was
the podcast.
A concept, a lifestyle, a proposal that was quickly rejected because I don't have any equipment, and neither did Bryan because I forgot to tell him that.
Yeah, you know, as the second to this whole thing, and of course I want to hear what Big L thinks.
What our guest did.
I know Danny's intentions were all good, so I couldn't really, be kind of mad or anything. If anything, I felt worse for Lukas, because he, was there. And then he was like a couple muffins deep.
Shit like that happens all the time. That's just the name of the game, right?
No, hey, I appreciate you for being cool about it, and I appreciate you for being cool about it. So thank you.
And I appreciate you being
Thank you.
you know?
Yeah, man.
Oh, you just asked me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, sorry. Muchas gracias, porque has ayudado a nosotros mantener la integridad.
Yeah, what he said, dude.
See.
No, man. I mean, for sure. Like, you're a true hero if you're still like sticking with us after that slight mishap I created. So, like, thank you for being genuine.
I told you on the way in, I don't know anybody, around here, and so anybody who is just, I guess, cool to me, why not? Because everybody else, I feel like everybody else takes their time to be a dick.
We just come right out.
Yeah, and it's like...
we just show you our worst first so you could accept us at our best.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Knowing people. Let me ask you something then.
Yeah, let's get into this.
How much do you know your... Like, are you a California native, or did you... Where are you from?
Well, like you said when you started, right? You said I was born there, or someone said I was from... I'm from Colombia.
You're straight from Colombia.
Yeah, I was straight from the source. I was born there.
Wow.
I think I was born right into the orphanage. You know.
Oh.
You were born in, okay, so give us some history on that. So what are we looking at? Which town? What time of the
And
year?
I'm gonna say it like a white guy in Bogota.
Oh,
Nice.
The capital.
I know it's
of
supposed to be like
Colombia.
The capital of orphan
Bogota,
Colombian
right?
children.
Yeah, that's
Look,
how. Yeah.
When I go to like a Spanish speaking restaurant and I hear people who don't speak Spanish, whether they're black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. The color of their skin doesn't matter. It's just the fact that they don't speak Spanish. It could be a Hispanic person who doesn't, like myself, who doesn't speak Spanish. And if
Or context, he doesn't speak Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish. But if I was ordering on the menu, like, oh, let me get the enchilada, like, and I tried to do that.
Yeah, it's just too much. Like, what are you doing?
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So that's why, like, I kind of don't.
You don't try to pretend.
I
or
don't
anything.
try to. Yeah, people speak Spanish to me all the time at work. Like customers try to like get me. Like somebody today was like queso, and I was like cheese. You want cheese? And like I was like it's down there.
This
Like,
is so interesting. This is very interesting that like you're from the country.
I don't care anymore.
But you, that's what I'm saying is that besides that, you don't really give off your typical Colombian. You're rebranding the identity of what it means to be a Colombian American. I feel.
I think I'm just a scumbag American.
Okay.
Nice.
Hey, your choice of words. But I say that's awesome because I've had so much imposter syndrome about. That's part of the reason why we started this podcast, to see if like we know what it is to be Colombian, even if neither of us are really like that tuned into our culture, really.
So your podcast is like Colombian comedy focused, correct?
Well, so this is the short order of what I tell people basically is that Danny came to me, and we had a few conversations that culminated in the fact that we were both Colombian. Danny felt that Danny, sometimes I say it wrong, so Danny gets weird about it. I felt like I wasn't doing an accurate job of representing myself as a Colombian. Like I didn't know enough about Colombia. I didn't know anything about like the history or anything about
So it's
like,
important to you to understand.
as I got older, it did. Like, like
How old are you?
I'll be 31 this year. I might be the oldest one in the room, I think. No, how old are you?
36.
Wow, you wear it well though, dude. You wear it very well.
Those Colombian genes.
Exactly. As Danny's joke would have it. That's a joke you've done on stage too, your Colombian genes. Don't look at me like that. And so for me that it came from kind of just like a want to, better understand myself, better represent myself, and so Danny was kind of like, hey man, I would love to do a show about Colombian stuff. And I don't know what Danny's, I think at the beginning it was more political for Danny. Like Danny, when our first couple of episodes, Danny was like, let's talk about the government and let's talk about, like things that are happening there. And we were kind of like doing history lessons about war and stuff. And that was my shit. Like I loved it. I would sit here and like, hear Danny do that,
So wait, which one of you knows about Colombian politics?
I'd say Danny is really,
Like
really
you follow it
There's
current?
an asterisk there. There's an asterisk, and I feel like this should be the time to acknowledge it. That's not my forte when it comes to talking about Colombian things. I think I was a bit out of my element in maybe we can say our first season of the show, because as much as I liked looking up these facts and everything, it didn't feel natural to dispel them, and let's be fair, our Colombian audience,
what little Colombian audience.
well, I think
there
they're a
is.
little younger, or if not, like more interested in the culture rather than just like war, especially in such a crazy time as it is right now. So it's like,
Why did you want to start the podcast then, Danny?
I wanted to start it because of that, but I also just wanted to educate people about Colombia.
Oh, yes, that's right.
'Cause
Danny was, yeah.
I'm so annoyed that there's not more things people are racist at us towards,
Danny's
Like-
he didn't like the
specifically-
representation of us in media.
In Narcos, I think Encanto's good, but you didn't hear that from me.
I never watched it.
Don't.
Hey, fake whisper it directly into
Into
mic.
the mic. Yeah.
I gotta be muy discreto.
Veterans
este.
are white
be
voice.
discreto to him, but let the people know.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that, like, I feel like after I had a conversation with my parents on the podcast and just now beginning to talk to you, I feel like besides these episodes, it could just be me and Bryan talking about some similarities we have on perspectives as Colombians, because that's what it's about. So we're in the process of
But
that.
today's podcast is about you, my friend.
It's about Lucas. So let's hear more about it then. Thank you so much for being here. We really are excited to see you. Yeah.
It's nice,
So let's talk
Yeah.
about it. What town then? Or
Tell
like
me.
what little area of Bogota? Is it like the more financial district? Is it like
And
the slums?
what I know is that I was born in some orphanage. I forget the name of it. Some Catholic place.
Yeah.
You know, my mom had a kid like 6 years before me,
Okay.
so I have like a half brother. You know,
You have a half brother.
I know like when I was like 27 or 28 or something, I was at my parents' house, my adoptive parents, and I've never in my life asked like where like is there like paperwork I can like read or something, but I
Really?
did, and my mom like she's like yeah I have all this stuff like, so I like saw this like little paper that had like like my name when I was born and like my mom's name and like this little kind of like 3 or 4 paragraphs
That
of
must be
like where she
surreal.
like what happened or like
Yeah.
that she was like she was from some other town outside of Bogota, had a kid 6 years before me, and then her parents like raised it or something, and then she left and went to Bogota for like work or to stay with a family friend, and then got pregnant with me, and then
Yeah. How so? Okay. So you were essentially adopted. That's what I'm gathering. What age? Like how?
definitely adopted.
Oh, absolutely adopted. What age did you get adopted from? Like how much time elapsed from the moment you were born?
I was adopted when I was 27. No, I'm just kidding. I was I was like a little kid.
Okay.
I don't like I don't that's why like being Colombian, it's literally just
A genetic thing.
it's a genetic thing, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
'cause you
like
didn't
Were
really
your
get
adoptive
introduced
parents
at all.
white, or were
yeah,
they?
my adoptive parents are like just white
Where are they
people
from?
from Ohio.
From Ohio.
Very
so
cool.
they're not even Spanish
Our
at all.
our sound guy is from Ohio over there.
You're from Ohio?
Yeah.
What part from Ohio are you from?
Cleveland.
Nice. I'm from
This is
Columbus.
so
The
revelatory.
way he
Cleveland's
said,
cool. No, Cleveland's I like
He was
Cleveland.
like nice.
Like I like Columbus more, but Cleveland's second best, and then everything like south.
You
of
can tell you're not
Columbus is-
Hispanic because
We
you like
agree in a
Columbus.
similar manner, but the other way
Yeah.
around.
I'm really kind of glad that you don't live in Columbus. That would be so strange.
Ohio's cool,
A
man.
Colombian
Do
living
you like
in
Ohio, or are you
Columbus.
like ashamed of it?
I'm not ashamed is the wrong word. I just don't want to go back.
Right. Yeah, I
You
feel
know?
that.
Like it's like, all right, it was a cool place to be brought up and born, but like I'm good. I like it out here a lot better.
Yeah.
Did you have
Yeah.
white parents who kind of like did their best to try and represent your Colombian heritage? Were they always constantly like, hey, like,
No, not always. I
Well-
remember one time, 5th grade, we had to do some sort of like, cultural presentation for school. It was a cultural day or something, and it was like come dressed as like your native ancestors or something.
Whoa.
Looking back at it, it's probably probably
That's
looks
Ohio,
ridiculous.
So yeah.
What? So did you
I don't know.
end up
We used to
doing
do
that?
that shit. I
Yeah,
remember
and
doing that shit.
and so I did like I remember my mom just like she gave me like some poncho thing that she got in Colombia when they were there, like adopting
Poncho.
me.
Yeah.
I think that's all I really remember wearing.
Ponchos
like,
are cool. I would have been. One thing that's very classic for Colombian people, I think the women, they have like flowery dresses. They use that in like dancing and all that. So,
my sister's Colombian too.
yeah, your sister probably could have worn that. And then the dudes, they have like those striped hats. Have you ever seen those striped like farm hats? They have like brown circles around them.
Just like a
It's
like
a farm hat.
with
It's a
just
farm
like
hat with, like,
stripes around the
Yeah, it's just like
10-gallon part.
Yeah, it's essentially just like one of those, but like with brown stripes all around.
So how many of your siblings got adopted at once?
I'm not related to any of my
But she's
siblings.
Colombian
She's
also?
Colombian.
How many
well,
Colombian adopted
Just
children
her.
did you grow up with?
just me and her.
So you guys must
you
have
just grew up
been-
in as a
And
duo.
my parents had a biological kid before they adopted.
How's that relationship? How's that?
It was pretty normal. I mean, like
Cool.
there was no. I don't ever remember any like
Gotcha.
weird like you're not my brother.
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious, but no, like, my brother and I got along,
Very
and
cool.
I'm
How much
not-
older is he than you?
He's 6 years older than me. He's the same age as my half brother, whoever's wherever my half brother is
Wow.
out there. But
Universally weird.
yeah.
So, what did you? How did you spend your childhood then? Like growing up, like it just felt pretty normal. if
Slave
this was the
labor.
case? Slave labor.
Yeah, I remember that scene from Indiana Jones, the second one.
Oh yeah,
That was him.
Were
Wait,
they?
what was the question? I'm sorry. I'm being
How
an
is it
asshole.
just like growing up like as an adopted kid that didn't feel like the need to be Colombian, to have like
I guess I never cared about it.
Right. And because your parents
It
weren't.
seemed normal to me.
So what did you care about? Like what was like?
Just growing up, being normal.
Yeah, it was just like,
He
well,
was
like,
just a kid who grew up in Ohio.
No, but I
Well,
mean,
but-
was
but
he
like-
into
but
sports?
like when I
Was
grew
he
up-
like an artist
when
type
I grew
of
up
guy?
in Ohio, though, the weird part about it was like when you're like in elementary school, right? Kids are usually mean. They'll say like whatever,
Yeah.
and all you want to do is like all you want to do when you're, at least me when I was young, is like fit in.
Mm.
You don't want to stand out. And I remember kids would always ask me, especially coming back from like summer break, because
Because
I'd
you
be like
would be tan.
They'd be like, "What are you?" And that would make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because
So
like
that-
right now, because for the listener, if you're not watching us on YouTube, you and Danny have very light skin. You guys are more like, if you had just told me you were from Ohio and never mentioned at all that you were Hispanic, I would have
Yeah.
been like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I believe it.
But if I spoke Spanish, would you then?
No, I would say that you would probably be just an Ohio person who knew how to speak Spanish. Like, are you saying just like if you had learned Espanol in Ohio and been like, hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo?
Yeah, like I mean, if I could like.
But if
do-
you'd been like rattled it off, I don't know. I mean, maybe like the Spanish that I speak is Mexican. I didn't grow up speaking, because our stories are very
Yeah, tell me.
similar.
Best.
That's why
I don't know anything about either of
that's
you
why I'm
either,
akin
so-
to you, because it's like hearing your story of being adopted. That like that's something I've never experienced in my life before. Like that there's someone else.
So
who's
you
been-
were adopted?
Yeah, so like I was born in Colombia, in Bogota too. Like, and I left when I was 3. But my mom, basically, when we had your parents here, his mom kind of echoed the same thing my mother said, where she was like, they were basically arresting people, kidnapping people, they were killing people, there were bombs going off. It was just not a wonderful time to be there, and like nobody wanted to be there during the 90s, and my mom was young and got knocked up, just like any chick does, and then she kind of was like, well, I'm not going to be here.
Do you know your biological mother?
I know my mom, yes, thankfully, but I'm adopted by the actual country by my father. I mean, she met a military man, and so the only like proof, I guess, of naturalization is an adoption certificate from the state of North
So
Carolina.
wait, you were adopted by your biological father?
No, by my stepdad, by my dad. So I have 3 dads. Like I have my biological dad, then I have the father who adopted me, the guy who raised me here in America, and then I have a 3rd dad, which is the dad who kind
pays
of
for all
raised
your
me.
bills.
Yeah, my sugar dad. No, he's the one that my mom married after she divorced my dad, the white guy.
Okay.
And so it's not, I do have the luxury, and it's very interesting because it's like Danny has his parents, I have one parent, and then you have your parents, but theoretically, you don't have access to your original parents, and so I think that combination is just so unique because it's like I would never know. I don't know. It's just very comforting to know. It's kind of like cool, like. You're just like a cool, chill dude, like, and I would imagine just like, fucking cracking beers with you, like, in the back of a fucking truck, like, and just being like, this dude's just normal. Like, this dude's, the only difference is I went through a phase where I would question, because I'm brown all around, there's no coming, if I came back from summer vacation, I was black, like, like, I was the N-word at that point. I wasn't a beaner, like, so it's like.
Where did you grow up?
In Virginia. I grew up in a southern town called Pocosin.
Okay, so
We
you
were surrounded by the marsh.
Like, what were like the other minorities?
Nope. I grew up with one other black kid, which is a whole. Vederman and I do a podcast called This, That, and the Other, and I told him 2 weeks ago the story about one of the other kids that I grew up with, and he's in all types of legal trouble and everything, but it was me, him, his brother, and that was it. I grew up with all rednecks, hillbillies, white people. So I'm more like when you were saying stuff like I don't care about being Colombian, like I don't, I'm American. The way you were like I have a joke where I'm like, people ask me all the time, they go, hey, what are you? I'm like, me, brother? Like, I'm a rootin' tootin' fucking, like, I love fucking cold beer, brother. I love monster trucks and hot dogs, motherfucker, and I love Memorial Day. And I love fucking wrestling, and I love fucking mud wrestling, and I'm, I'm a motherfucking American, brother. Like, that's all I know. Like, I'm just a fucking southern motherfucker. I like to hunt. I like to fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm as white as they come, and, like, I don't know. And so you saying it just kind of makes me feel happy, because it's like, here's like another guy, like, who kind of went in a way, like it sounds like your parents were loving and they raised you well, and like you still had access to sort of like parental figures, but the adoption process and the idea that there's like potentially a parent out there that you may or may not know, or siblings, or
What
it's very interesting.
What is it to either of you that like makes you like makes you care a lot about being Colombian? Because like I guess the reason like I say I don't care is like I'm just like I think whatever I was like or like whatever I am, if I'm this and that whatever, I still just I don't know. I have like I just don't feel like I care.
If I can say very briefly, it's that for me, because I grew up with both my parents, and unfortunately I can't share the experience of being adopted like you guys. They gave me so much of Colombian culture when I was growing up that by the time I left Florida to move here to California, I missed it so much because I was very alone at first. I got these guys as my friends, but
So you grew up like parents speaking Spanish.
They shoved it down our throats how Colombian it was. They made sure that we knew just as much Spanish as English. They were like yellow, blue, and red, man. Like they were all the way. So it was very different for me, but I liked it after a while. I think I just also kind of got embarrassed because I grew up with like a lot of angst and a lot of like sadness and all. So I didn't know how to embrace it until I felt like that was the one thing besides comedy that could make me feel happy when I'm away from all that family. Because I'm out here alone, dude. Like I got a cousin up in San Francisco, and that's it. Like nobody's around here, so
I did it because of the shirts.
This is the first time we've worn
Yellow
the
looks
shirt.
good on you.
I threw the shirt on and I was like, oh, that's not gonna care about Colombia.
But it's just like
man,
everybody in Hollywood and beyond like doesn't realize how like awesome the culture is, and I'm a little mad about that because it's like it's about time we got better representation. Like let's put John Leguizamo in more movies. Let's get Shakira. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I think for me, a lot of it was just like my mom she didn't. She was very much like, you're just an American.
Yeah.
Like, you're just here to fucking do that. And I spent a lot of my life just not really paying attention to it or caring about it. And I think I just hit a point in my life where I was like, I think if I were to ever have children or, visit the motherland again and, do all that jazz, like I would want to know a little bit more about it, like, and understand a little bit more about. Because I have a lot of,
that's a great reason.
I have a lot of pride, I guess, in like history, and I'm always very, I'm very akin to kind of the things that I do about being a legacy and kind of like, kind of creating my own path, a lasting path that other people could like potentially do. And so there's so much history that I don't know about that just because my mother lacked or chose, let's say, not to associate me with, the Colombian heritage or whatever. It's like, I still, theoretically have family out there, and like, there's still people out there that know me and know of me, and, so that's really the reason why I did this, so that like Danny could come in here every, week and be like, today in history, or, did you know this, or did you have this? And to me, it makes me feel a little bit better because like I didn't grow up with any of that. I didn't know about it. I was like you. I was just like a guy. You know what I mean? Like,
so he's catching up. He's like looking at this with open, bright eyes. And I'm just reliving nostalgia, like that's what it is for me. So it's a very like interesting dynamic. But honestly, there's nobody else I'd rather do this podcast with. Like Bryan's the shit, man.
Well, that's just because he didn't meet you before me. Like otherwise, Danny would have been like, Bryan, would you like to be a podcast on the podcast thing?
Lucas is the shit.
So Danny asked a question as far as like sports and stuff. Like, were you athletic in school? I know you before this you had mentioned that kind of like school was a bit more of like, it was just like you and your homies and maybe like a smaller group of people.
I played American football.
Very cool.
Wow. Okay.
Like, football, not soccer.
That's totally 180. That's awesome.
Not in high school. From like third grade until I got to high school.
Cool. Oh, okay.
But I remember like that summer going into high school when I found out that like 2 weeks into summer vacation you had to start doing like 2 a days, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, lifting weights and stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna play in the NFL, so I just decided to get fat and
oh wow,
just be a fucking teenager.
I feel that.
What type of meals did they end up making you then? Like If
Who,
they
my
weren't-
white parents?
Yeah, your
Oh,
white
those
parents,
fucking
like,
get into
just-
this meatloaf.
Yeah.
Pot roast.
Okay.
Pork chop.
Very cool. Yeah, it's cool to hear that your parents were like. It would have been kind of crazy if they were like really woke and like they would like bust into your room on like
I
know
mean,
like
I
and
don't.
they
I
were
think
like
that happens now, but not in like the
but-
early 90s.
yeah.
I don't quite
yeah.
mind it. I'll agree with Bryan. I think it would be worse if they were like trying to like say, "Oh, because he's Colombian, we gotta like look at the History Channel and see what he likes. Coffee
Yeah.
beans, okay. Bananas, okay.
My
Cocaine,
uncles,
okay."
my uncles, like my adopted parents, like brothers and sisters, like they would always like. I think like my one uncle and my uncle Bill, they're like German. Okay, so he's kind of like tan and he had dark hair.
Wow.
So I was confused when I was little.
Very
I
confused.
thought he was like, me, and so
Wow.
because of that, he always called me like Chico. We always like that was like our thing, and I was so confused for a long time until I realized like I'm not very smart. I'm not a smart person, so these are probably things that normal children probably picked up like, as soon as they found out they're adopted. Like, okay, I'm not related to anybody in this,
Yeah.
in this like when we go to grandpa and grandma's, those are just two old white people that
So
yeah.
if that's the case, would you feel like a lot of your personality, you didn't really let them influence you much? Like you kind of just found it on your own?
That's probably why. Yeah, I mean, I was like the first one in my family to like move out of Ohio, and like, and my sister still lives there. My brother has moved out eventually from Ohio, but yeah, like I'm not close to my family. Like I mean, I say that, but like I'll call my mom like once a week.
You're like Midwestern, like
I mean, no, because see, most Midwestern like white families, they love each other.
yeah.
You guys love each other. You have brother, whatever, sister, anybody like that. Like you guys love each other.
Did your adopted parents ever divorce?
No,
Very cool.
they all love each other. I'm the only one that's just kind of like,
I don't want to be here.
yeah. My sister's got her own problems, too, that I never really knew about until now as an adult. But she's still like she can't really cut the umbilical cord for my parents. She's 2 years older than me, so she's more of the stays. She doesn't live with them, but she stays in the same city as them.
Having a
Columbus.
Colombian sister must have made things maybe a little bit more relatable, or like was there an exchange?
Her and I
culturally?
talked about being Colombian for the first time like 5 years ago.
Oh, how was that?
Really?
The only reason I did it was because my mom told me that she was having like depression issues. Like she had tried to like commit suicide or something. Like, all this stuff I didn't know what was going on. I didn't because I don't like talk to my family. I don't like I'm not like, even when I'm around, like even when I live in the same city, I see I'll like see my parents like once a week. Usually to just do laundry because I'm a fucking scrub. So do laundry at their house. Do laundry at their house, and but yeah, I'm like not really close to them. So
Okay. Well,
Very cool.
yeah. I mean, that's just how you grew up, and it seemed like it served you pretty well. Like you enjoyed your childhood. Sounds like.
yeah, I mean, that's the odd thing. Like I think, and just as I get older, I'm realizing that I do like my family.
Yeah, of course, of
'Cause,
course.
like, you go through your 20s, like I was super immature, so I'm just like fuck everybody, fuck my parent, fuck. So I like moved to Chicago. I like move all over the place, and
To Chicago.
it's like I live in Chicago, and I went home to Columbus once to visit, and I was only gonna be there for like 2 days, and I just wanted to hang out with my friends exclusively, so I didn't even tell my family that I was there.
Wow.
And so like I was staying with my friends, and I was in the back of my head, I didn't say this to anybody, but in the back of my head I was thinking, because we were going to get Chinese, my friends and I, at this fun spot that like my parents also go to. And I was like thinking it'd be funny if we were pulling in and they're pulling in. And my
Hilarious.
brother and my brother's in town visiting. They just happened to go get fucking Chinese food at the same spot. They're like, they didn't see us though. And I remember I was like riding shotgun with my friend, and I started to like wave because I thought it was like the sun was shining right on us. I thought they fucking saw me, but they never said anything. Like,
Huh.
so I'm just like that kind of with my family. I'm just like,
Alright.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel that.
If
That
you
would
see them,
kill
you see
Danny.
them.
He would never do that.
I wouldn't do that now. That would kill me now. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it just took me a long time to mature and realize that I could have like had a way shittier life than
Yeah.
like maybe I feel like I did just because I was like
Often.
just like a regular like middle class Ohio person.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I never really experienced any true strife. Like,
Yeah.
like twice when I was 18, and like I think the police in Columbus hassled me for definitely for like fitting the description of somebody who's breaking in cars in the area. Twice, same thing.
Wow.
So it's like I don't know if that was anything, but that was enough for I guess for me to be like, all right, like I'm pretty normal
Yeah.
in the Midwest,
Yeah. That's very cool, man. So you said you've been a couple places, Chicago, and where else?
I used to live in Chicago. I used to live in Brooklyn, and then I went back to Ohio, and then now I came here. I moved here like a year ago.
Hmm.
A year ago.
What's the ranking of cities, in your honest opinion?
That's a good question.
Like which is the best, which is the worst, if we could speak honestly?
Brooklyn's New York is
Really?
yeah.
Nice.
I've only been here for a year, and so far I'm just like, every day is the same. I get it. Weather's like okay.
Yeah.
It's the
Every-
distance
like,
that
so-
really
like-
kills people. Like there's not enough to do that you need to just walk to. You have to drive all the time.
Yes, I don't like
driving.
driving all the
That
time.
plays into the culture a lot.
That was like when I moved from Columbus to Chicago. The main reason was like I didn't want to have a car. Like I didn't want to have that payment and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that like not having a car payment is like makes life. I don't know. It's like just a level of stress that fucking goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Living in Chicago without a car was nice. And
Chicago.
then
How many years in Chicago?
I think I lived there 5, 6 years.
That's a good amount
Very
of time.
cool.
Wow.
5 years. Yeah.
What part of Chicago?
Always on like the north side because I'm
Nice.
a white guy. So
Yeah.
I'm not
At the end of the day.
I'm not trying to get caught in some sort of fucking.
I want to be white so bad.
So I saw shit.
Oh.
I saw someone get shot at when I lived in Chicago.
Oh yeah. How was the how old were you when you went to Chicago?
When I moved there when I was 22, 23.
Here, let's take a commercial break real quick. Just kidding. Oh well, I was gonna take a commercial break at that half point anyways. To transfer. Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, get in there. This is the asthma part of the show.
You're breathing.
You know, okay.
Good, right there. All right, what else? What?
Oh, how old were you when you were in Chicago?
I moved there when I was like 23.
Oh.
Okay, so you left there probably, yeah, almost a man.
Yeah, Chicago's a fun city. I like the cold. Well, not the cold, but I like the change in seasons. I think that's like what I miss most about that part of the country. It's just
Yeah.
crazy to me that it's like every day is relatively the same.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that's one of the weird parts about Chicago, like or moving in general, is you end up finding all of these different places, and the environments just
Summertime in a city like that, though, in Chicago or like New York, summertime is like makes it the best place ever to be. I mean, just like everybody's out from like the moment the sun comes up till the moment the sun goes down, and then it's warm at night, so people party at night. And
yeah. Where do you find the most Colombians in your travel? Where have you statistically?
Dude, I
found?
worked with at one point 4 Colombians in Columbus at Costco where I worked.
Very cool.
There was a manager, Andres. He hated me. I think he hated me because I wasn't like Spanish enough for him. That's the vibe.
Like
I
if
got.
anything, that's the racism you're gonna receive on your end. It's
yeah.
not from other white people. It's from
Colombians are very judgmental.
Hispanics. They are judgmental, man.
They have a high nose.
No, they all like they.
high nose.
I work like right now. All the guys I work with are either Mexican or Salvadorian, and all they do all day long is give me shit
Yeah.
for like
Wow.
being white. Like anything I
Yeah.
do is white.
Yeah.
I'll put like Wu-Tang on. They're like, that's white shit. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
Anything that's old is white. I guess.
Wu-Tang Lucas. Old old dirty Mateus here. L unit.
So I don't know, man.
No, I do find that interesting. That I mean, do you speak Spanish? How well do you speak Spanish?
No, I mean I know like leche, gato,
Wow.
baño.
What? Well, tell us something a little more about like you
Hola.
said he had like some German ties. Then what'd you
Who?
say? In your childhood, like your
Well, just my adoptive parent.
Yeah.
Like my mom is there. I don't know what my mom is. My mom's like German and Irish, all that.
if
kinda
you
stuff.
did have a nationality you could see yourself associating with that wasn't Colombia, what do you think would be a close second besides American? Like what do you like? Do you think that made it a little Danish or something, a little German?
Wait, what? Like who do I get along with better? Like
well,
as
like
a race?
if you let's just
Are
say
you
Who's my
asking
favorite
him in
race?
another world where he weren't a Colombian who wasn't a Colombian?
What race would I
what
like
do
to
you
be
feel
if
like
I
you would
wasn't?
be? Like what do you feel like you are? Because like
I
don't know.
feel like I am genetically a Hispanic person, a Latino male, whatever it is, whatever that is. That's what I feel like. If you
Okay.
cut me open, whatever, that's what it
Yeah.
is. But like I don't know, I think everybody's just a product of where they grew up. It doesn't matter,
right.
And you can have family who like forces the culture on you, and forces whatever. I just, my parents tried to force, like the white Catholic, thing on me, and I'm not like religious, so like I feel like if I had parents who were Colombian, but we grew up in America, and they tried to force Colombian culture on me, that I would probably have rejected it. Like I had a bunch of Mexican friends when I lived in Chicago, and I went to this one kid's, like, when I say kid, we were like 20, 25. He had like a birthday party in his mom's backyard in Pilsen, which is like a Mexican neighborhood in Chicago, and his mom would be speaking Spanish to him the whole time, and he would just always respond back in English. Like it was the whole time.
Yeah.
He spoke Spanish.
It's a common thing.
So I just, I just feel like that's kind of like that's a weird, they grew up in America. His mom obviously tried to keep Mexican culture in him, and it's like, I get it. So you can survive in America. You know what I mean? You speak English, you speak Spanish, you can do everything. I only speak one fucking language.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys, and we will be right back.
Hi, this is Perry Kurtz, and I wanted to tell you that I've got a new show coming out. It's called Happy News with Perry Kurtz. That's me. And it's going to be different because we're going to be bringing you the upside of life. That's right, the happy news to make you feel good. And each week I'm going to have my special guests. We're going to talk about their lives and comment on the good things. You can hear us on iTunes, Stitcher, CastBox, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can watch us on Binge on This on YouTube.
Welcome back to Caldo de Risa
Yeah, boy.
with Bryan and Danny. And now, Lukas Mateus, he joins us in the studio.
Yes, sir.
We're back.
He's here.
I never left.
Caldo de Risa, we're talking to Lukas Mateus. Give us something.
Just give you what?
What? You had a couple questions for Lucas.
I
What
did.
you
I
wanna
did.
ask
That's
him?
what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm here to keep this train on its
Yeah,
on
let's
the
keep this train
tracks,
on
bro.
tracks
That's
here.
if you can tell, I'm a completely different person on the mic during this
Why
show.
do you want me on this podcast? Like, why am I here?
Yeah, attaboy. Tell him.
Good question.
You had me come out to fucking Glendale 2 days ago, and you
Get
didn't.
him.
Whoa.
Get him.
No.
There's that Hispanic
Are you a little
fieriness.
upset about this?
I like to think his
You
white
were so
parents are like,
relaxed that day.
you need to watch
You were
yourself,
So relaxed that day.
Senor Lucas.
No, I like to give people shit. That's my.
You like to give us shit. That's
Danny will get used to it. He's not used to that
we're having-
Midwestern charm.
I'm like, when I was in high school, I was telling Bryan when I was in high school, like I had like 3 friends. I wasn't popular. I wasn't picked on or bullied or anything either. I didn't bully anybody. I never did anything. But I feel like if I could like relive my life and just do what I want to do, I think I would come back as like a bully. That's kind of like my, like when I watch an old movie from the 90s, all that humor is like bully humor. It's like somebody gets pushed down a flight of stairs and like, anyways, you have questions. I'm talking about pushing people downstairs.
You know what? I've got a very interesting way I'm going to play this game with you.
Should we ask him the questions first and then do the game kind of at the end?
Here's the thing about the questions. A lot of these are just about like the representation, the feeling of being Colombian.
Oh, but since he's already covered that, a little
Yeah,
bit, I
that's
feel
what I'm
like.
saying. Is that
Okay.
like I could say maybe, have you visited Colombia?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No, I've been to Venezuela. That's the closest I've been.
Venezuela.
Oh, what took you down there?
What's the link?
My parents took my brother, my sister, and I on like a cruise in like the 90s.
Huh.
Wow.
And like, you know, like a carnival cruise,
Huh.
like where you get fucking diarrhea on the
Yeah.
boat. And then I don't know if they still do this, but they would like stop at places. Like they stop at like an island
Cozumel
or
or some
whatever.
shit
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
That's the furthest south you've been then.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when we went, there's like everybody gets off the boat. You don't have to, but like if you get off the boat, they like had these like jeeps there waiting for you that like take you into the rainforest somewhere. And like you get out and like you eat somewhere there and you can like swim in this waterfall or whatever. It's like this whole nice thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
My mom worked with this lady who took the same cruise like 2 or 3 years later. And like she said that when they took that trip, but like someone rode with you with like a gun in the back and like they kept like flaps down
Holy shit.
on the Jeep. So like, you know, you couldn't like see the rainforest, I guess, as you drive through it. You just kind of had to like wait until you got to the spot. Because people were getting like kidnapped and stuff. So I don't know.
Venezuela.
God damn, that's crazy.
That's a crazy spot.
Yeah.
Those are common though. Very, very cool to go on a cruise like around South America. I think they do that out of Cartagena as well. So
Yeah.
that's just like
It's
a cool thing that
it's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of corny to say like you went on a cruise, but it's like I did get to go to all these other like
Yeah.
countries
it's a very
for like a little bit, you
convenient
know. It's like
vacation.
you
I think
know.
it's very convenient. I love cruises myself. I think it's very convenient.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to go on a cruise with like a bunch of your like same age friends.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
and
think
like
those
somebody
cruises-
gets
That might even be
somebody
more
gets
fun
locked
than
in
Las
the somebody
Vegas.
gets locked up in the galley or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Push
for
the
fucking-
people's
At
stairs,
least
down
that's-
the stairs.
It's just like Las Vegas, but
But
on
at
the
sea,
water. Yeah,
yeah.
that's all it
Dude,
really is.
I
when you get down
yeah,
there.
I don't like party, quote unquote, but like I
Mhm.
feel like I would fucking party if I went on a
Oh, you'd
cruise
have
right
to.
now with like a bunch of my
Cruises
friends.
are great.
What a
Cruises are
better
really
way
good.
to die than to fall off a cruise
You
ship.
just take your girl and
Live
a bunch
like
of
you
friends,
died.
Get somebody
you know, do
pregnant,
that.
fucking
Yeah.
have
Oh,
gay
man.
sex.
I actually
whatever.
have a question.
Let's hear it.
Comedy wise, you know, do you ever use any Hispanic stuff in your comedy? Do you find that leaking through? How prevalent is that in your
Uh,
5 or 10?
I talk about like being adopted.
More than being Hispanic?
No. Actually, I would say that I have more stuff that I'll talk about being Hispanic than being adopted. But it just kind of like if you're talking like what's my like tightest 5-10 minutes, like it would be about being adopted and being Colombian. and,
Okay,
you
so
know.
then it is a rate, you know, that the 5 is about that. Your rate, you know, your race, your confusion of it, your
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like experience of going
Yeah.
through it. Interesting. Yeah, that's very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, see, Danny, you know, he's very prevalent in that regard when he gets on stage. You know, he explicitly, you know, says he's Colombian.
I
and
gotta
like his
talk
stuff.
about it.
Yeah,
I just
that
have
was
to.
like, well, when you hosted that mic at Club B, that was like the first thing you said.
Yeah.
And then like everybody that was in the audience at the time at the moment, you started like individually picking all them out, and I was like waiting till you got to me, and you got to me, and like because you said you were Colombian, I was just like, all right, like I'm not gonna tell you right now. I could have told you when you were like yelling at me. I could have been
Yeah.
like, you know.
I
but
wouldn't
was
say I
like-
was yelling. I would say I was just loudly speaking. I'm not abusive in the workplace at all.
No, it was
So,
it was a fun, you know, it was a fun harassing yelling. I
Yeah.
like, you know, I like it. So, but
I was just roasting people. I forgot what I
Right.
said about you, but I definitely know it wasn't Colombian.
you said
'cause-
something about I was gonna like steal your clothes or something. I think you thought that we were dressed the same.
Yeah, that's right.
similarly
Yeah, you
at
were
the-
kind
at
of
the
stealing my
moment.
style. Now that I remember it.
I mean, my shoes were tied.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's a fashion choice I have. You haven't lived until you untie your shoes.
Okay, you're gonna die with your shoes untied. That's what's gonna happen.
You haven't died until you've untied your shoes, essentially.
Haven't you watched that Down the Staircase fucking documentary on Netflix with that woman that like
Yeah,
quote
but
unquote
Danny's-
fell down the stairs? Like,
Danny's allergic to owls, so there's not, you don't have to worry
dude,
about that.
I swear to God, I got attacked by an owl once in Ohio.
part. My
My girlfriend was with me. We were like walking at night in the summer through like this park where there's normally, you know, deer and animals and shit like that. And like it was, you could see the shadow and feel it as it like like swooped down
Yeah.
next to us and it went into some like tree. But it was like pitch black, so you couldn't like, I couldn't see it, so I can't like prove it. But
But I know, in my heart of hearts,
Just trust me.
I was
when
this
why would
close,
Why would I
yeah.
make that up? And there's no need for me to make up an owl attack story.
Cool.
No.
Well,
no.
I do, I do find that interesting, man, that you do go out and talk about it, because it's like, I won't say that I'm Colombian on stage. Like, not that I'm against it, like, but I don't, my material has never been, my type 5 is never about, it's usually about my mom or like doing something like that. But like,
But you talk about talking about your mom, doesn't play into it all anything
no,
with
because
race?
usually, no, like sometimes the accents that I use for her, like I'll switch it up every now and then, and she may just sound like Mr. T if I want her to, like every now and then she'll be a mijo, she'll be like, oh, like it just kind of depends on the thing, but the adoption thing, I never come out, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I really don't. I'm literally just, again, I find it so interesting to have 3 Colombian comics in a room, who have gone through various degrees of, exposure to the culture. And then, we get a chance to go, well, how do you, express it when you get on stage? And so for me, it's kind of like, well, that's something maybe that I need to work on my end to process, those things a little bit more, as far as like, talking through that and the reason why I do that. But that's the reason why I bring it up.
Peer review almost,
Yeah, in a way, man. It's just like a good barometer for me as someone who sometimes feels like he's a little lost, as far as like ethnically and like kind of who I am as a person, like something like that, the ability to ask questions and, be like, hey, man, why do you do this? Or
What do you like? Do you want to know everything about Colombia and be like this Colombia?
No, I
like-
mean, I think I just would like to know, like, to me, I think, every culture in its own thing always has its own kind of like stories and allegories and myths, and I think I'm more fascinated about that and like history, like just kind of like, like battles, and like there are important George Washington like figures in Colombia that I think are very cool and interesting, and like there's a lot of sunken treasure off the coast of Colombia. Like there's all this cool interesting stuff in Colombia. It borders a lot of cool places. Like it's a fascinating place, and I think there's a part of me that really regrets, and has shame, that I don't, know enough, or have given enough credit, or have even contacted the family that I do know still out there, that I, So to me, this is almost like a penance in a way to be like, okay, well, I'm at least attempting to do something. And, I've told Vederman before, and Danny before, I really want to make it kind of my new thing to actually get on stage and talk about those things.
Yeah, this project that we've created, he and I, essentially, this is kind of like
Eat the mic.
only inspired us more, So it's like he's thinking about exploring more of that. I feel like I'm just getting funnier as a person, talking about stuff that actually matters instead of wordplay, and it's just a fun time, honestly.
Bryan, you and I could be related.
You never know, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
he even said the Germanic thing, and I was like, the Tassaras are a long German line. Like, you know what I mean? Like the sigil and everything. It's like, I don't know, and like the idea of like those white grandparents and like those parents that have raised you, like have been there with you, they brought you your gifts and they did all these things and they were at your graduation. I mean, and I'm using the royal you because I'm saying that from my personal place. It's like I love my grandparents and I love those people and everybody who's raised me, and my Uncle David who gave me my Justin Timberlake CD. Like, those people are pivotal. All the white rednecks that I grew up with, all my best friends, like those are all, people who are, family and friends, and we're just part of all of that, and it's just kind of cool to know. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, there's like another dude out there who kind of did that also in a way where it's kind of like, there is a kinship in that, I believe, that is very rare, because you could maybe find someone who was adopted or in that situation, but to like have them be Colombian and be within your age range and like kind of grow up in this sort of domestic household where it was kind of just like, do your work, don't kill anybody, like, you know what I mean? Like, be nice, go about it, say please, thank you, like, just kind of standard human things versus cultural things, like, versus being like, oh, you're Hispanic, you have to act this.
My parents gave me a good work ethic that's paid off in the Hispanic community. They really appreciate that.
That Midwestern grind. Did you do any wrestling school or anything like that?
No, not like for fun, not for like collegiate, just just wrestling with the boys.
Do a little mudding.
Yeah.
All right, Danny. Well, how about we do your little game before we close out here?
Okay.
A game?
Yeah, Danny's got a little game.
I actually have an addendum to this game.
Oh
Right.
boy.
It's not too
I don't know
hard.
what that word means.
Basically, it's like we both describe, like, let's say it's Shakira, right? So I describe Shakira, and he decides to describe either Sofia Vergara, because she's also a woman, or Carlos Vivas, because he's also a musician. And you just tell us which one sounds cooler, because like we generally have like the same idea of what we talk about when we talk about like Colombian terms. But if we're gonna like suggest to you, if you're open-minded enough to like want to take in some of this stuff as well, it's like, which you could be very well, it's like what sounds cooler, like
Yeah.
who sells it better? Because I feel like I'm like
Okay. Well,
I'm a real Colombian.
I'm not gonna know any of the things you're talking about.
But what do you think sounds cooler? Is what
Okay.
I'm saying. Like, what would
That's
you be
fair.
more likely to look into if we both had to? So
So you're trying to sell me on something.
yeah. So
essentially.
let's go ahead and start with something easy. All right. Who's cooler? I'm gonna argue for the part. I haven't thought about this until today. Sofia Vergara, and then Brian's gonna describe here John Leguizamo. Like, who's like a cooler?
Can I ask
Colombian
any
actor?
questions like who is that person?
Yeah.
Who's the Sophie one?
All right.
Who's
So I'm gonna
that?
go first, and then he's gonna. This is fun. Yeah, I call it "Convince Me, Huepucha." I like that title a lot, actually. Sofia Vergara, she is like a Colombian supermodel, that has like a lot of like facial distinguishments that make her super funny when she acts.
Like a
She's
scar?
an actress. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a TV star. She was in Modern Family, right? She's like the wife, the Hispanic wife.
Okay, I vaguely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's beautiful, she's funny, and she's nice. She's like really nice. And my mom told me that she did this one thing when she was like a child in Hollywood. She knocked on every door and got like 100 no's before she got a yes from all these agents,
So is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think that's what anybody should try to do, But this is inspiring. It's cool. Now, tell us about John Leguizamo.
No, I try and make Sofia Vergara sound way cooler than that.
No, John Leguizamo.
Or I make John Leguizamo.
Well, John Leguizamo.
Okay,
I should have roasted John Leguizamo. He looks like a rat.
you're good. We open on a desolate landscape, probably the Cretaceous period. And there's, like a 60,000-pound stegosaurus just clomping through, and it's bellowing at the top of it. And you just hear just a flash of light. Pop. And, the whole landscape just disintegrates. Like, gone. The flash comes in. We pan wipe up. The year's 1968. A baby is born in Brooklyn by the name of John Leguizamo. Now, this young man, he didn't have good coordination, didn't learn how to use the potty till he was 6, but he climbed his way through not only the social hierarchy, but the Hollywood hierarchy, based on just gumption. And the thing too is his hands. They were the size of basketballs. He has huge hands, monstrous hands. A lot of people don't know this about him because he has these huge, monstrous.
Like banana hands?
I mean, he was gonna be a Harlem Globetrotter, but they were like, no, you have a face for the screen, and with his gigantic horse hands, these huge
Wow.
monster horse hands, and he
Horses
used to cup.
have hooves.
He used to go to Spurs games and just cup people's faces with his hand. And he's been in these great movies like in The Pest, and he was in John Wick. He was the guy who helps John Wick with his cars, and he's got the eyes of a panther, and they say his heart is 3 times bigger than the average man.
That's not
And
good.
he once swam upstream the Hudson River to save a child that he put there. And it's just he's deviant, and he has a heart of gold but a mouth of a sailor, and he there are times when you just kind of just stand in his aura and you're just blown away by this man. So which one of those people sound gold?
I mean, he was in Super Mario Brothers. I don't know if that evokes much
Does
confidence.
it matter if I have a bias?
I mean, Sofia
It's like-
Vergara has fat monkey milkers, so
See,
I'm not gonna be like.
I don't know who she is, but I know John Leguizamo, and I've seen stuff he's in, and I like stuff he's in. So
All right.
Ka-ching.
But I
Mark
don't
it
know.
down, Zach.
Mark it
One
down.
for...
What
That's
time was
one,
that?
Brian. 0, Danny.
Ugh.
17.
You didn't mention
17
his
minutes?
character in Land of the Dead. That's great.
That's it? There's no way. We haven't been sitting here for an hour.
What, the second time or the first
The
time?
second time?
17 minutes overtime?
47 minutes. Oh, you're saying, I'm saying how much time is left. Oh, you gave me the time that was this motherfucker. You did the right thing, though. See,
Wait,
that's what
wait.
happens
So
when we
that's
don't-
how
when
long
we
we've
don't-
been.
No, we've only been doing 17 minutes. For some reason in my head, I thought there was only 17 minutes left on the chip, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, no. All right,
I'm
next
I'm a
one.
little through the roof right now. They don't know this, but I'm kind of like
It's true.
up there.
Into the mics.
Don't tell them this. Hey guys, how's it going? So anyway, yeah, okay. So you got 1 point. That's 1 point for Bryan.
All right, let's do one more for 1,000 points.
We can't do like 3 more.
We're already almost over 45 minutes with what we had. 2 more?
2 more. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
time for
Best
2
two.
more.
Best 2 out of 3. Best 2
And
out
I'll
of
make
3.
them short.
Okay. He is going to go ahead and describe to you why Narcos is a good representation of Colombian drug lords.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why the only thing better than that is Encanto,
Okay. All right.
because it's family-friendly fun. And that's what Colombia is all about. Family-friendly fun.
Is that your point? Was that your selling point?
What I'm saying is that Encanto, I'm sorry, dude. I think Encanto is better than Narcos, the whole series.
Okay.
I want to test you because he doesn't like Encanto at all.
Give me a little more, though, Danny. Try and sell it to him.
All right, okay. Well, here's what I'm saying. Encanto is basically the perfect representation of Colombia. It's honestly the best film that I've ever seen about Colombians because it talks about nice things about the country, talks about the food, talks about the music, talks about the type of fashion, the landscape. It's like ideal Colombiana. Like you take your girl, you watch that movie, and if anybody ever bothers you, anybody at all, and me and Bryan aren't there to beat them up, you say, I've seen Encanto. I know Colombia. Leave me alone. It's the type of movie that you go to when you're going to start a family with the person you love. Like, it's conception night.
Is this
that
like
night.
the Scarface of Columbia cinema?
Not even close, but it's pretty damn good.
Start George Bushing hand in like this. Like you don't know movies.
That's Bill Clinton. Isn't
Oh,
it?
Stu Bill Clinton.
What are you doing to me?
You don't know.
You don't know movies.
All right, is that it?
That's it. That's
Okay.
my pitch for Encanto and why I think it trumps Narcos, the TV show.
Okay.
We open on a desolate landscape. The year's 1870.
That was the dinosaur scenario.
No, just kidding. Narcos. A good show. Many would argue that it is a show. And it does the things that all shows do. It tries to present a story. It gives us main lead actors. People who are, I don't know. I never saw Narcos, but if I did see Narcos, right, and I had to take a guess at it, right, I could sell it to you. It was, Julio Rodriguez Gomez does a wonderful job as Escobar's second. Maria, I think it was Ramones Juarez, did a great job, as his lover. I think it accentuated a lot about the relationships that were happening in between the characters. The drugs were part of it, obviously. The story is driven by drugs, but it becomes more about a B story versus, the actual things that are, he's going through and sort of, establishing things like that. And then a comet comes and blows them all up. And just kills everybody. I think. I don't know. So which one of those sounds cooler?
Vote for me so we can go to the third one.
Okay, yeah, Danny.
Yeah.
Encanto, I've never seen either of them, so I don't,
Yeah.
I think you should watch it. I think you'll enjoy it.
I think I would have sold you if I had told you that I didn't see it. Like if I had been like,
A man gets murdered in Encanto.
Man,
You're gonna see that in Narcos? I don't.
Yeah, you
think
did.
so.
You did a really bad job of selling Encanto. That's what I
What
would
are
have
you
opened
talking about?
up
He
with.
picked
No,
mine.
Danny, it was trash.
Yeah,
You
this
did,
is
you
how
did
to
a
keep the
trash
game
job
going.
of describing Encanto. Brian, you did a trash job of describing Narcos.
Well, I lied. I did not. If I had said, "Oh, Narcos," and then just gone into it, then yeah, maybe. But I don't.
if you guys-
Well, too little, too late now.
If what?
If you had to sell Encanto.
I'm surprised you didn't have me try and sell Encanto.
Yeah, that would've been
a smarter
funnier.
thing to do
Yes.
because you don't like Narcos. It would have been smarter for us to do the ones that we didn't like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right,
All right,
let's
one
do
more.
It
Let's do
again.
one. No, let's do one more.
You guys
All
flipped
right.
sides.
Let's go ahead and talk about. Oh, this one's a difficult one. This one's near and dear to my heart. Okay. Brian, what's your favorite food from Colombia?
From Colombia,
Yeah, just tell me really
it's
quickly.
probably caldo de res, caldo de papa.
Caldo de res?
Yeah, some
All
type
right.
of caldo.
Okay. I don't really care about caldo de res. And I have a feeling you don't care about mazorca, which is my favorite Colombian
Corn?
food. Yeah, corn. Just corn. Just straight up corn.
Okay.
It's the best. But he's going to tell you why it's the best. I'm going to tell you why my thing is the best.
Okay.
And you'll choose for that because, okay, that's a
Hang on,
swap around.
just straight up corn with nothing on it.
No, it's
He's-
like grilled corn in a husk.
It's corn, but it's no caldo de res, and he would probably plug that.
All right, here we go.
So why don't you start with this one then?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about mazorca.
Okay. When our people were young, the land was filled with maize. But that was not all the land gave us. I mean, it was what the land gave us. That's what this is about. Mazorca. Cooked in the husk of 1,000 golden strands. Gently roasted over fires that have been cultivated. I don't know where my accent's at, but damn that corn. Shit, that corn is good as fuck, dog. Man, let me tell you about this corn, motherfucker. They be roasting that shit on the thing, and it's in the cuss. But what happens is the corn, it leaks the juices out in the husk, and so it's like getting all, but it don't pop. You're like, why ain't that popping? And like, but it's like in there, and then they pop it open. And like, yeah, sure, it looks like you chomping on dick, but like, you're like, and it's like, bruh, but it's so good. Though, you know what's fucked up though? They put mayo on corn here, and that's a travesty, man. That's the most fucked up shit. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Is that like a Mexican thing?
Yeah, I think it's more of a Salvadoreño thing, like Central America thing. Like they just love mayo and corn. It's like, it's just weird though. But the corn, the mazorca, god damn. That sounds good, don't it?
Yeah, let's eat.
I'm gonna try to meet him at his level. I'm gonna try to adopt a little storytelling aspect myself. He could easily beat me. That was a good description of mazorca. I
Yeah,
think
for a guy who chose the game, he was really confident at the beginning. He was like, I'm going to sell the shit out of this stuff. And I was like, okay.
Well, you know what? We're tied. We're tied, okay? And you
Then he
wanna
was
go-
like, Encanto. It's a story about love. I was like, huh.
Here's the thing about caldo de res. When you drink a bit of soup, you are tasting a pool of eternal flavor, right? That is what caldo de res is. Caldo is Spanish for warm water. And de res stands for the rest. It's the warm water and the rest. That's really all it is. There's no way
That's crazy.
you can
I've never heard someone just break down. I've never
explain
heard someone make
better.
soup sound boring.
Any-
Danny made soup just be like, oh, what?
Jesus Christ.
So which
Let
one would
me
you?
finish. I haven't even started with the rest.
Okay.
So it's the warm water.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a bit of a punchy yellow vegetable flavor. That's one of the rest. That's potatoes. You got the potatoes. Are you listening to me, Lucas?
Yeah.
You're losing it.
You're losing him, Danny. You can already tell he doesn't want it. You got closing
Potatoes.
arguments, 30 seconds.
Cilantro and beef. Potatoes, cilantro, and beef, and sometimes corn, and sometimes capers. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing that will make your mouth. There's nothing that will make your mouth water more than drinking caldo de res with so many pussies.
I say bam like Emerald.
Bam.
So which one of those sounds really good, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hungry, so they both sound great.
Nice.
Do you want to use your lifeline? Get an opinion from Zach.
Is that I mean, well, what do you mean?
Which sounded better, Zach?
What do you
What
think?
would you tell him to pick?
Well, I've had both corn and caldo, thanks to motherfucker on the right over there. I gotta go with the thing with meat in it. As a red-blooded American,
right,
anything with
right.
meat in it,
He's from Ohio. He gets it.
anything with meat in it's automatically like corn's cool, but like corn's a little bitch because it gets stuck in your teeth, and then you have to
mention
get something to
that.
pick it
You
out.
poop it out.
Yeah.
Mention that.
Yeah, you poop it out and it's fully formed. What happened, baby? I thought I chewed you up and spit you out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
like the
saying?
worst
why
thing
you,
about
why
caldo-
why full
Poop
nugs
corn.
coming out my ass?
Worst thing about caldo is that
Well,
you could choke on the bone and die. That's
Looks
it.
like I
That's the
lost,
worst.
Well,
guys.
I
Well, he
hope-
hasn't chosen.
But I mean, the thing is like I want both of them as a meal. I don't want just one or the other. To be honest.
Well, it's funny you
So
mentioned that.
you guys are all about division and
Yeah.
dividing
Oh.
on this podcast, and I think we should bring it together and just have both.
Yeah, wow. I don't think you could end a
Come on.
segment any better than that. Very
You are
good.
an agent of peace. Thank you so
Is he
much.
Asian?
An agent of
Oh.
peace. He's an agent of peace. Look at that. You saved the day. You got to. I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean.
Hey,
to
Yeah,
you're
see,
doing a
come
good
on,
job,
love.
man. I'm very proud of you.
Uh,
The Colombians got to stick together.
We gotta stick
Yeah, at
together.
the end of the
Can't
day, we can't all be turning on each other. We're
Right.
brothers. We're blood brothers, bro.
Right.
Literally, at
We-
one point or another, our blood intersects.
We
bro.
might actually be related. Who knows?
We all
You
might be
never
related.
Who knows?
Literally
it's so
could.
weird because you relate to his childhood and I relate to your like skin tone. You know? So it's just
Yeah,
like,
isn't that crazy? I'm telling you.
You're
It's a
like
cool
the
little-
Venn diagram.
Yeah, we're like Russian dolls, but fat and ugly. It's like you wake up like me. All right, Danny. So, what do you have as final questions and goodbyes and anything
Well,
for this?
I guess just
young
like-
gentleman, because we're gonna have him back on, obviously.
I guess
Like, we gotta- we
what
gotta
would
have him back for-
your if you had to do a sitcom or a television series about an aspect of your life or like based on parts of your life, you know, so like how Donald Glover is doing like
Yeah.
Atlanticus that's based on rap, or you know how some comics do like stand up like as a show because that's
Yeah.
how they became who they are. Like, what would your thing be? Would it be like a workplace comedy? Would it be like something that had to do with like adoption and like having to grow up in that environment, or would you have even a trace of like not being familiar with who you were before you were adopted?
It would be a work. It would be a grocery store.
Cool.
setting. I mean, that's like all I've ever done my whole life,
Yeah.
consistently.
Why do you feel like that could be important to like who you are? Like, what is it about a grocery store that does that for you?
It's always allowed me to have enough money to live and travel.
That's right.
Like I don't have kids. I don't. For the longest time, I didn't have a car, so it was just like all I really had was like a rent payment. you know?
Mhm.
So it's like I don't know. I'm not like. I want to be rich because I don't like the stress of bills.
Yeah.
But like beyond that, it's kind of like I'd probably buy some flashy clothes to be an asshole and stuff like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that point in your little kid brain where maybe it all hit, where you were like confused and like, oh well, like what am I? What do I do here? What's going on? Or like a really specific point in your memory where you question that, like, what would you tell that kid or that like younger version of yourself about being Colombian and the way he feels about it?
I guess the way I am now, I'd probably be like, it doesn't matter that much. I don't know. Like, you're gonna hopefully, like, I'm like talking to myself, like, and then
Yeah, you're
like
talking
my
as the
past
guy who's a
self, whatever.
comedian who has a type 5 about being adopted and being
I'd just be
Colombian.
like, don't worry. Like, I don't know. Don't. It doesn't matter because if you travel around the world, like, I mean, you're gonna meet all kinds of people. So it doesn't. Nobody's ever really cared what I am. As far as like I was telling Danny earlier, like when I lived in Chicago, everybody thought I was Puerto Rican. When I lived in New York, everybody thought I was Puerto Rican. When I live in Ohio, people just think I'm like Italian. So it's like it doesn't matter, you know. It does. It's like for me in my life, it hasn't really ever mattered. Like, what was the question?
Hey, I think that was it. Yeah, just what you would tell the little dude, and then push him down the stairs.
Yeah, and then fucking shove him down the stairs.
Very
I mean,
cool.
I don't know.
Hey, we'll have more people through and everything, and like that's just a question that I feel like is,
It's a pretty good question. Yeah.
and a very cool answer, my friend.
Yeah.
It's a little doom and gloomy answer, but
No, I like
just-
the honesty of it, just the straight up frontness about it. It's like you are who you are. You are the man that you are. You know, there's no looking back on it. There's just kind of acceptance, and it's like, don't worry about it. You know, whether it is good or bad, or whether you're in the best place in your life or not, you're here, and you're happy with that, and for the most part, and there's no use in, looking back at that. So I find that very freeing. I hope one day I can get to a point, where I could do that. Me, I'd go back to that little kid and be like, get ripped, dude. Like, fucking, like, like, learn more about Colombia. Like, like, do more things.
Buy more jean jackets.
Yeah, nice.
More jean jackets there.
Where can they find you, Lucas?
What on Instagram? On
Plug your
that's
Instagram.
about it. Blood X Shower. That's my Instagram. Blood X. Have you ever seen the movie Blade?
Hell yeah.
Like that opening scene with the
At the rave.
yeah. That's where I got the name from.
Nice. That sounds
I
like
changed it one time and then I changed it back. It didn't feel right.
Is that like an old AIM username?
No, that's like my literal just first like
Instagram.
the first time I ever used it for Instagram because like I got Instagram like when it first started, so I didn't want to just use like my name Lucas. I thought
Yeah.
that was stupid, so I was just like I'll do that. And then I think about changing it because I do comedy and it probably should just be like my name, so it's like easy to locate.
Yeah.
But it's funny to tell people because every time I tell people, they like laugh.
They're like Blade.
Yeah, no, they don't
No,
say
just
Blade.
kidding.
They just think I'm like some sort of like I
Weirdo.
don't know, weird metal guy, which like I'm not really, but it's just funny for me.
Very cool. And what about
It's
you,
not
Danny?
funny.
No, I mean, just I'm on Instagram Archilla, and I am celebrating my birthday this month. So
How old are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be 28.
Hey.
I'm scared of it. So
Why?
because that's
Danny has a lot of hatchets.
I'm not
he needs to
there
bury.
yet. I'm still like 25 in my mind, but
I'm still 25. He's still 25 in his mind.
we're all 25.
How old did you think I was? I told you I was 36. You were
Yeah, I
like
thought you were 25.
25.
28.
Wow, I still got
You
it.
look
Yeah, you're doing
25,
fine.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, just look me up.
Vederman's 40.
Yeah.
But he has AIDS, so. I just know, he's got that weird version of AIDS that makes you stronger.
He's got that Ohio AIDS. Fucking doesn't kill you.
For some reason, my AIDS continues to just make me stronger.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then, of course, you can find me at @thereal_Bryan TV, and you can also find the rest of everything else on bingeonthischannel.com. That's our website, centralized location for you guys to find all of the great shows that we have available for you, such as This, That, and the Other, Happy News with Perry Kurtz, Roll for 20s, Nights. We also have Sacred Circle. We have so many other stuff out there for you guys to check out. Don't forget the YouTube, man. You can see our pretty faces on YouTube simply by searching Binge on This. And if you're in the LA area and want to see some comedy shows, check out the Gauntlet Comedy on Instagram. That's about it, right?
That's about it. Yeah.
Lucas, it's been such
Thanks
a
for having
pleasure,
me.
man.
Thanks
Thank you
so
for
much for
giving us a
coming by.
second shot.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get you in on This, That, and the Other on another day, man. That'd be really cool. Just have you in just to talk, not about being Colombian,
No.
Yeah.
more about being a guy who talks about being Colombian.
it's
I'm
just-
just kidding.
It's just cool, I mean, you're a cool comic and like
Did you have a
pretty
good time, Danny?
reliable dude. I had a great time. I think we both had a good time. Zachary, thank
Yes,
you. for
shout out
helping
to
us
Zach, the audio
Yeah,
maniac
shout out.
Vederman. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
He's-
Thank you to the Will Be Funny Studio for having us
Yeah.
today. With that being said, let's close out the show with our favorite saying: Al que no le gusta el caldo, se le dan tres tazas.
Tres tazas. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon. All right.
Adios.
Adios.
That's Spanish.
Hasta luego, cucarachas.
Ciao.